This is shiny. Let's do that first. The other covers in this series have made very minimal use of the gold foil, but this one goes all out. You could blind someone with this. I think there could be some meaning behind it. It is this last volume where the Golden Age is truly embraced and the heroes return to save the day. The gold could reflect that. Overthinking it, aren't I? Credits. Robin, Starr and Smith. This is the final part, so I have to explain, but I won't go overboard explaining the plot and where we are at. Basically, nefarious shit has been afoot for years, while almost all of the Golden Age superheroes have been away. Most retired, and others fallen on hard times. During these years, a hero called Spirit of 76 returned from the war and milked his reputation into a political career. We learned last issue Spirit of 76 died in the war, and this person we have been seeing is in fact Man-Ape, one of the Justice Society of Superheroes' arch enemies. There's also something going on with his pet perfect superhero, Danger Man. Last volume, we had two sets of characters separately learn parts and pieces of what was happening, and now we really satisfyingly bring those people together to share what they know. We have Johnny Nesquik from the Stir-Fry Squadron. He's who brought these two camps together. We have Stephen Hawkman, Mankiller, and Spirit of 76's add comic relief sidekick, Bob. The three of them learned of the death of the real Spirit of 76 from Mankiller's dreams and repressed memories. Then we also have Keith and his paramour, the former villainess Huntress, who had helped Spiritess of 76, the wife of Spirit of 76, unlock and steal Spirit's diary, which contained many of these secrets. Here they debate and spitfire what to do with the information. None of them have been active heroes in a while, and none of them are all that powerful. They definitely couldn't stand up to Man-Ape's soldier, Danger Man. I really like this bit. Not only is it exciting to see things coalesce like this, but their uncertainty and their doubt in their own ability to do anything makes it tense. A plan begins to form when we learn that Spirit of 76, with presidential decree, has encouraged all the wartime heroes to attend a ceremony at Washington to pledge allegiance to the flag. This will be the venue for things, but they realise they cannot tell any other heroes because they don't know who they can trust anymore. They can't risk word getting to Man-Ape that they know, and they are concerned that other heroes might try to clue someone like the Pratt in, and they don't know if the Pratt would listen or if he would warn Spirit. But what they do need is someone they can depend on who is still operating as a hero and who has powers and who could get close enough to things and potentially not be straight up murdered by Danger Man. So they choose Minuteman. They go their separate ways until the scheduled event, and we show some of our other characters in the interim. Green Lantern's the gay all along one. He is largely away from that drama because he is dealing with his own problems, having to testify for the House Un-American Activities Committee. We also have Liberty Beale, Johnny Nesquik's ex-wife. She has now split from her new lover, Johnny Spider, but Johnny Spider is trying to get her back. He is trying to win her back. He has quit drinking. He wants to prove himself to Liberty Beale. A tiny bit of criticism. I think Liberty Beale could have and should have uncovered some aspect of Man-Ape's scheme. Maybe what his ultimate plan is for the future of the country. She was working as a TV journalist, and she could uncover, like, blueprints or something. I think it maybe would have worked to include her in that little group at the start. She has been one of our more central characters, and it feels wrong to have her so distant and unaware of the main plot. There could be some added drama here, wherein she cannot tell Johnny Spider what she knows because she no longer feels she can trust him due to his drinking, and certainly after he tried smacking her. That's fan fiction though, I don't like sharing that. This is already a great comic anyway. I would have only liked to see her given a bigger role here, considering where we end this off with her and with Johnny Nesquik. It would have been nice to bring them together in that first scene. More characters. We have Starman, who is still tinkering about with his rod. That's not a euphemism for him having a wank. We have Keith, and Keith has powers that he refuses to use, but he is followed around by the ghost of his brother, who is always encouraging and trying to get Keith to use his powers again. We have Huntress, we have Spiritess, who has to maintain the cover. She has to go back and sleep with and be raped by a gorilla in a man's body. Look at the state of her. We have Danger Man snorting more cocaine, and Robot Man says he is doing too much, and Danger Man tells him to never tell him what to do again. Robot Man is working alongside Spirit of 76 and Danger Man, as are the Pratt and Johnny Thunders. Robot Man has been shown to have lost his humanity, while the other two have been gaslit and manipulated into feeling important or like they belong. Mankiller and Bob, and finally we have our plan with Minuteman. He has arranged to join Spirit of 76's camp. He is going to unmask and start working with them officially, like how the Pratt had done earlier. It's all a ruse to get into a position on the day. And now that day comes, and we get appearances from many of the Goldie Age characters we have barely seen in this series. They have all come out of the woodwork because President Truman encouraged it, rather than because Spirit of 76 wants them to, so he can use it to further bolster his image and make it look like they all support him. By the way, I'll probably keep calling him Spirit, even though it is Man-Ape. I'll probably back and forth between the two names, I don't know. Some guys we have here include Elastic Man, Rayman, Sandman in his Jack Quimby costume. Wish we had seen more of him in this series. We also have the Goldie Age Flask, and he remains one of the oddest characters to push to the background. Him and the original Green Lanterns, they are two of the more main Goldie Age characters, especially once you remove the ones who were retconned from being around in that era. They are mainstay members of the Justice Society of Superheroes. Ask anyone to think of 10 Goldie Age DC characters and they would be there. I think the real reason we barely feature him, he doesn't have a line of dialogue anyway in all 4 volumes. He appears in 4 panels in the entire thing. I think it is purely because he and his powers are seriously impeding Johnny Nesquik as a focus. I do think, I wish, if he had one little bit at the end, if the Flask got to do something, like if he was given a tiny bit of prominence to acknowledge his importance. That is maybe the biggest missed beat for me. Even if it is just having him fight Danger Man for a page near the end of the fight. And have Johnny Nesquik internally monologue about how the Flask always was a better hero than him. How he always overshadowed him as a hero. And that if anyone ever needed a speedster, it would always be the Flask that they wanted. And that he thinks that the Flask has a better chance of stopping Danger Man than he would ever have. But at this juncture, things like that don't matter anymore. And then Johnny Nesquik would rush into the fight side by side with the Flask. And the Flask says something like, "I was wondering when you would get here." And then Johnny Nesquik goes, "I was wondering too. After all, we're not all as fast as you." You also have Canary. She is mistakenly called Diana in this. I mentioned some of these in part 1, but to go back, here are some notable Goldie Age characters we are missing. Orkin Girl does not appear in this story. Stephen Hawkman was depicted with a woman last issue. You could say it is her, but she is completely absent in the story. Spectre never appears. I am entirely convinced because he was too powerful. He could have defeated Danger Man in his sleep. Dr. Fade is missing a weird oversight because he could be nerfed enough to involve. But I would again guess the idea that he could easily dispatch Danger Man is why he is nearly never seen. He did appear on the splash page in issue 1. Sandy Hawkins, we have Sandman, just barely, but we never see his sidekick. Despite the Stir-Fry Squadron love-in feel, Allbrand doesn't appear in Goldie Age. Neither does A-Train. I don't think we see Captain Steel anywhere. And White Knight only appears in issue 1 on the splash page. None of the characters whose Goldie Age appearances were removed by Christmas on Infinite Earths appear. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc. Likewise, none of the new characters introduced to be their replacements from Young Stir-Fries appear either. The original Blue Beetle, Ma Uncle and the Tornado Twins, Pin-Up Lady. My point is less that the characters are missing, but more that they have done a good job of actually including so many others. Actually, I think that's pin-up lady there. I think that is definitely her, the green cape. There is a young hero, a new hero, who wants to join in with the ceremony, but he gets shooed away by the police, who think that he is a crackpot groupie. This will actually form the basis of this story's ultimate message about the Golden Age heroes. Inside, things are about to happen. Most of the appearances are background cameos. Notably, we have some villains here. We have Psychic Pilot, the Diddler, Card Queen, the Gambler. No explanation for them. They don't have any payoff. They're just there for one panel, this one. But we also have the original All-Bran next to Johnny Spider. And there's White Knight on the right hand side next to the Flask. He's in 5 panels, my mistake there. In a surprising turn of events, Spiritess takes to the podium and starts delivering a speech about how great America is. We are going off script. There's some good stuff with Huntress and Keith, and the overall sense of dread is executed with precision. At this point, I always feel a bit like Minuteman, actually. Minuteman realises what is happening. Spiritess is going to reveal to everyone who Spirit of 76 really is. He rushes in to try and either take her place or to save her, but she gets half the secret out before Robot Man, far gone by this point, murders her in cold blood in front of all the heroes. It is a soul-crushing moment for the story. She suffered maybe the worst fate of any character. She was violently raped by a Nazi guerrilla for years, and then had her skull crushed in front of everyone. When I first read this, I got annoyed here. I thought we had set up a great story with a fantastic villain, Man-Ape, but it didn't seem enough. It didn't seem impressive enough, so we have to add on that Danger Man. When they transformed him into this nearly invulnerable Superman, they also transplanted Hitler's brain into him. It's such a throwback idea, and I think it maybe lowers the story's tone in too big a way. But maybe that is in part also trying to reflect how this issue goes back on its attitude of the wartime heroes and their adventures being overly romanticised. We spent so long showing how unfantastical they are and how unfantastical their lives now are. And here, we show that they are great heroes. And maybe having them beat superpowered Hitler is the most extreme Golden Age style fantastical adventure to set our themes against. Man-Ape is trying to salvage everything and twist what is happening, but Hitler, he just goes, fuck it, I'm Super Hitler. I drowned the last whale. There's nothing I cannot do. I hate the Excellent Men now. I cannot stand to look at them, but that line remains my favourite piece of dialogue in any comic book ever. I drowned the last whale. There's nothing I can't do. Then we flatly jump cut to the Green Lantern's plotline. I said already in an earlier part, I think this didn't need to be here. I understand that it was appropriate for the era, and it was a logical thing to explore, but the two things are that it is massively disconnected from the main plot with Man-Ape, And the other is that if you hadn't given the Goldie Age Green Lanterns this amount of page time and story, the practical absence of the Goldie Age flask would not stand out anywhere near as much as it does. About 90% of what we have left is fight. A great big superhero fight with Adolf Dangerman. It's fantastic. Along the way we get to see little bits with characters we've not had featured in this series. Rayman and Condor 1 here. There you get a page. That's good. Yeah, they get beat. Most everyone gets beat. But I like getting to see bits like this. A hero doesn't have to win a fight to appreciate seeing them take part in a fight. One of our side bits is Huntress and Keith fighting Robot Man. They want to avenge his slaughter of their friend Spiritess. Huntress, as a character, she really comes across as compelling in this. She was mostly in Stir Fry Squadron and stuff like that as a random villain on a villain team. Her character arc in this is entirely its own thing. James Robinstar, the writer, he presents a character here that I would like to read more of, but I don't think she has ever gotten stories with this as a character. I'm not too sure she has even appeared after this, and if she has, it'll be flashbacks or appearances in villain teams. We have this ongoing thing, we've had it through the series, Keith's ghost brother trying to get him to use his powers. I don't know Keith. This is the only story I have ever seen Keith in. I don't know what his powers actually are, which might give away the resolution of his dilemma here. This is a situation where he surely has to use his powers. His girlfriend Huntress is risking her life fighting a mad killing machine, but he still refuses to give in to his brother. Manape convinces the Pratt and Johnny Thunders that this is all one big communist plot. We get a great arc for the Pratt here, and we really depict Johnny Thunders in some of the most unflattering ways possible. I hate Johnny Thunders. I think he is a lousy character. I like what we do with him in this because he is the least redeemed and redeemable of everyone. He properly seems like a Hitler youth here. He has found acceptance in this new world that Spirit of 76 promises, and he won't let anyone threaten that. The Pratt is a lot more reasonable. We will come to him. He's simply a bit confused and he's listening to his boss, whereas Johnny Thunders comes across as bloodthirsty and evil. Here, Johnny Thunders summons his New York doll and he commands it to kill Minuteman. The New York doll is like, I can't do that, I don't want to do that. And Johnny Thunders tells him to shut up and do what he says. And even the extra-dimensional genie comes across as more human than Johnny Thunders. The conflict between his commands and his own sense of values agonizingly tears him apart. He is unable to complete Johnny Thunders' wish and departs screaming and explodes in the sky. The only sliver of goodness in Johnny Thunders recognizes that his actions have caused this to happen to his New York doll. While all that was going on, Minuteman and the Pratt have been fighting. It is here where the Pratt realizes that he's on the wrong side. Danger Man rubs his face in it. What a great little Nazi you would have made. The Pratt tries to apologize to Minuteman, but Minuteman understands. It's one of many good pieces throughout the fight. Small payoffs that are more meaningful and impactful than they would seem. The Pratt joins the fight against Danger Man. We have about 24 heroes fighting this guy now, and there's still not enough. Our other appearance of the Goldie Age Flask is in that bottom panel. Since everyone is focusing on Danger Man, Manape is cleverly using this as a means to get away. He plans to start over and get a new body. There is one hero who needs to deal with Manape though, Mankiller. I think Manape's involvement in the story becomes a bit too buried the minute we unveiled Super Hitler. This is still a very credible and major villain, and that his outcome is a fight with Mankiller seems not enough. Keith doesn't need his powers, he never did, and he doesn't need them now to fight Robot Man and defend Huntress. We have battlefield check-ins now. Captain Midnight, his goggles have been broken, so now he cannot fight anything because he cannot see. Red B is dead. Red B's ghost apparently appears in an issue of Starman. Another suggestion that this story is canon. Johnny Spider has his neck snapped. He dies. I wish this had gotten a bit more space. That should be like his half redemption. That he dies fighting the villain. There's honestly nowhere near the amount of gratuitous death that you would expect from something labelled an Elseworld story. There's like at most 5 or 6 deaths in this issue, and one of them is Red B. We're into the final phase of this boss fight, which is where we start having major or important heroes try to turn the tide. We have Stephen Hawkman. He tries to take down Danger Man, and he is unsuccessful. And then that kid from before, the one who claimed to be a superhero, he rushes to join in. He is very quickly whacked away, and now Johnny Nesquik is going up to bat. This is a great issue. This is nearly wall-to-wall superhero action. I love it. I overestimated Sporty Spicer's presence in this series. In issue 2, I think I said he was missing from the back cover. He's definitely not. He has an arc, nearly entirely on this page. A single panel even. He is there, and he dies by trying to help out and save an innocent child. I said there wasn't much death, but people are dropping nearly every page. I don't find any of the deaths, barring one, to be bad. None of them are insulting to the characters. They are deaths that have a point. Like here, the culmination of Keith's plotline is that he only uses his powers to fry himself and Robot Man. They both die, and Keith gets to go out without ever really giving in to whatever his powers were or going against his decision to never use them again. Green Lanterns, the gay all-along one, finally shows up to the party in a panel that is not Paul Smith's best work. So here we get to see Green Lanterns fight Danger Man, and the tone is, our big gun has arrived. It is why and where I feel the Flask should have gotten a look in. It's still not enough. They're fighting someone who is close to being Superman. Johnny Nesquik realises that there's one hero who isn't here, and he runs off to get him. Back to Mankiller and Manape, Bob gets involved too. He tries to get a gun to Mankiller. But here's the one death I think is nasty. Bob is gunned down by Manape. No one even mentions or addresses Bob or his death after this. Part of me wants to pretend that Bob survived this barrage of bullets, because Bob is the one guy who shouldn't die in this story. He is the underdog. Him losing his life in the final moments doesn't feel like it's doing anything for any part of the story where you're telling, why did he have to die? Mankiller barely survives himself, but he succeeds in killing the enemy who had been hunting him for the past few years. I feel it's a bit of an underkill for Man-Ape. Back to the bigger fight, Johnny Nesquik is back with Starman. It's not explained why Starman wasn't already there. He's not even the game changer that Johnny Nesquik or the story would think he is. He is one-shotted by Danger Man, hitting him with a tyre. Once more, that kid from before runs into the fight. This is actually a young Comet Man. He is the first of the next age of heroes. And I didn't realise when I first read this, but Comet Man, he was introduced in 1951, and in some way was the first Silver Age hero. It's iffy. Very few would say 1951 was the Silver Age, and it's not really the Goldie Age anymore either. It is a purgatory between the two periods. When Comet Man is fighting Hitler, Liberty Bell uses the opportunity to take Starman's broken rod, broken from all the wanking no doubt, and impales the villain with it, causing him to also drop a school bus on himself. Remember, Danger Man was never invulnerable. He was only ever nigh invulnerable. They did outline that in issue 2, that he wasn't indestructible, but that he was so close to it that you might as well consider him indestructible. That's it though. We have an epilogue here that shows Johnny Nesquik is living a happier life. Starman got married. Learn more about Starman in the Starman ongoing series that will launch a few months after this by the same writer. Mankiller went to Africa to hunt Green Lanterns, the gay all along one. He continued to be gay all along. Minuteman still at times goes out as his masked alter ego. Maybe a pun there. I said at times. The Pratt has learned a lot from the whole thing. He has matured and grown. Johnny Thunders, on the other hand, hasn't. He's still a knobhead. Huntress, after losing Keith, returned to a life of crime. And finally, Liberty Bell has rekindled a relationship with Johnny Nesquik. We reference that the Justice Society of Superheroes were forced to resign by the government, which I don't understand. Every part of the story before this implied that they were no longer together. But what of that one kid who helped save the day? What of Comet Man? He was the first in a wave of new heroes who were inspired by the dedication of and the example set by the Goldie Age ones. That's what this story is really about. It's not that the Goldie Age heroes were all broken or flawed. It's not that their personal lives were decidedly unsuper. It's not that the world moved on. It's that their legend meant so much to the world. Their exploits in the war and their battle against Danger Man, They're not just attention-seeking people in colourful pyjamas. They are heroes, and they fought for the good people of the country. This page is also meant as a direct bookend to the opening one in part 1 with the Goldie Age heroes. We have Acroman, the Flask, the Barney Allen version, Comet Man, Green Lanterns, the Rat Bastard version, and there is Adam on his shoulder. We have Martian Mind Fucker in his human disguise, but then you can see his real form floating above him. We have the Champions of the Underknown, the Dome People, Ara, Flash Gordon, Mr. Fantastic, Myxomitosis, Animals Man, and the Creeper. And there's someone behind Mr. Fantastic, possibly Blue Beetle. Purposely, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have been left off, I would guess because their legend is subject to change. We'd already had big reboots that reintroduced Superman and Wonder Woman, and none of them are really Silver Age characters. They were Goldie Age characters before that changed. Although we do have Acroman and Ara here. I think just play it safe and don't have those three here. It is a great finale to a series of graphic novels that might mislead a lot of people early on. This last one leans so heavily into the absurdity of superheroes that you could forget part 1 had a lot of sad sack shit, with most of the Justice Society of Superheroes being unhappy, unfulfilled, and even unexciting. If you are going to read this, I do think you should know in advance that it's not that all the way through. It is building to this crescendo that counters the deconstruction idea by showing when they put on the masks, they are in fact only heroes and legends. I have had a thought though. Right, there is Johnny Spider, Bob, Spiritess, then there is Robot Man, Man-Ape, and Danger Man, Red Bee. I think we have 7 deaths. I think there is 7 deaths in the... Keith, there's Keith as well, never mind. And Sporty Spice. That would have been a good one though if there was 7. Johnny Thunders' New York Doll as well, maybe. That could count as a death. So there's 10, it doesn't... Wait, hold on. Different idea. I think we have 7 heroes that died. Johnny Spider, Bob, Spiritess, Red Bee, Keith, maybe Johnny Thunders' New York Doll, and in the end, Sporty Spice was a hero and he saved that girl. So I'll rate this 7 dead Goldie Age superheroes up. I don't think the New York Doll is dead. I think it dissipated and returned to the 5th dimension and never returned to this world again for a long time, but I needed 7.